Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at some really striking data that just came out November 2nd, 2025. It's about Maui car rentals.
Yeah, striking is one word for it. We're talking about a sudden, really sharp spike in prices. Our mission today is kind of figure out why this keeps happening. It's like a price roller coaster over there.
Okay, so what's the core finding? What's the big headline here?
Get this. Prices for most cars, compacts, mid-size, Jeeps, even minivans, they more than doubled in 1 week.
Doubled.
Yeah, and SUVs. They more than tripled. It's repeating a pattern we saw last year, actually.
Wow. Okay, so give us a concrete example. What does that mean in dollars right now?
Right now, the absolute cheapest car you can find in economy class from Hertz is $589 for the week.
And that's up how much from just last week?
That's a 163% jump. Just boom.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So that was the cheapest. What about the categories that saw the biggest leaps?
SUVs were the most dramatic. 6XT had them up 229%, hitting $965 a week.
965. Wow.
And minivans weren't far behind. Budget listed them at $1,225 a week. That's up 177%.
Okay, was anything like immune to this or less affected?
Well, convertibles were the exception, sort of. They only went up 24%.
Only 24.
Yeah, but, the source points out they were already at a really high price point, so
Yeah.
it's less dramatic percentage-wise, but still very expensive. Thrifty had those at $11,199.
Right, already elevated. So how does this crazy week fit into the bigger picture, like the whole year?
Good question. These prices are way, way above the 52-week median.
How far above?
Take that economy car again. $589 now. Its median price over the last year was $269.
So it's more than double the average.
Exactly, 119% above median. And it's like that across the board. Everything's at a big premium compared to the typical price.
And what about comparing to this time last year over year?
Okay, yeah, the year-over-year is interesting. It helps us maybe build some theories.
Okay, theories. Let's hear them.
Well, first, the outliers. Jeeps are actually down 6% compared to last year.
Down.
Right. Yeah. Maybe people are finally realizing they don't need a four-wheel drive for, driving to the beach.
No, maybe. What else?
Convertibles, on the other hand, are way up. 169% year over year. Big jump there.
Okay. And the SUVs and minivans that spiked so much this week.
Right. They are also up significantly year over year, like 78, 81%. One theory is that this could be a kind of hangover effect. Remember that vehicle recall last summer?
Oh, right.
That might have really tightened the supply specifically for those larger vehicles.
Interesting. And what about just regular cars, like sedans? What could their prices tell us about maybe the overall Maui recovery?
Well, their increase was more modest,
Mhm.
up 16% to 32% year over year.
Okay.
That could actually suggest maybe some early signs of visitor numbers picking back up after the awful Lahaina fires in August 2023.
So demand might be returning.
And hitting a market that's still really constrained on supply, yeah.
Okay, so for someone listening who's actually planning a trip, what's the practical takeaway? How should you book now?
Basically, throw out the old playbook. For most of this year, like February to October, you could often save money booking last minute.
Right, that was the conventional wisdom.
Not anymore. Demand is so strong now, you absolutely have to book ahead.
How much difference does it make?
Huge difference. The source gives an example. 5 weeks ago, you could book an off-airport car for this exact week for $165.
Okay.
If you waited until this week to book it, $668.
Whoa. More than triple the price just for waiting.
Exactly. Procrastination is expensive right now.
So that brings up the airport versus off-airport thing. We always hear, go off-airport, it's cheaper. Does that still hold true with everything so tight?
Actually, the data complicates that. For some cars, it flips the script.
Really? Which ones?
Specifically, Jeeps, convertibles, and those big 7-seat SUVs. The source shows prices for those are often lower at the airport.
Lower at the airport. Why would that be?
The thinking is, maybe those smaller off-airport places just have very limited stock of specialty vehicles, especially after the wildfires might have impacted operations. So the airport actually has better availability and maybe better prices for those.
Okay, so it depends on the car type.
Right. For this specific week we're looking at, minivans were really the only category where you definitely saved money by going off-airport.
Got it. Was this price craziness just a Maui thing this week or happening elsewhere in Hawaii?
It wasn't unique, but it was definitely most dramatic in Maui.
Huh.
Both Maui at $570 average and Kona at $686 saw prices basically triple.
And how does that compare overall?
Well, the big shift is Maui's ranking. It's usually the cheapest island for rentals this week. It jumped to become the second most expensive, only Kauai was higher. That's a major flip.
Okay, so looking ahead, What's the forecast say? Do prices stay this high?
The prediction is that prices should actually drop pretty steadily through the rest of November.
Okay, some relief maybe.
But, and this is a big, but the source warns to expect another sharp spike for the Thanksgiving holiday week. Travel demand,
Right, so if you're traveling for Thanksgiving.
Book it now, like yesterday. Don't wait.
Okay, good advice. So let's leave our listeners with a final thought. What's the deeper question this volatility raises?
Well, here's the thing that's really interesting. This price surge happened even though reports suggest there were actually plenty of cars in the fleet overall. It seems like the rental companies themselves were sort of caught flat-footed by this sudden demand spike.
So even the companies managing the supply didn't see this coming so strongly.
Apparently not. So the provocative thought for you is, if demand is this unpredictable, this volatile, even for the experts, what does that really tell us about the true stability, the underlying health of Maui's visitor economy as it tries to recover right now? Something to think about.